I've been trying to record this video, but like, I mean, this jacket is so warm. It's a weird, warm, hot, cold in the UK at the minute. But every time I sit forward, it just looks like I'm a giant blue marshmallow. But it's fine, it's fine. Here we are. I have wanted to do a breakdown on this track for a very, very long time. And today is the day, even though it's taken me so many attempts to record this video. Hello, Mercury retrograde. I always am like, no, it doesn't affect things that much. And literally it's been an hour and here we are. So if you haven't heard this track, here it is. Well, a small sample. Go let it down, feel what you need to feel. I said let it down. Feel what you need to feel. You're shaking in my arms like a baby boy, like you know I love you. Here's what to go. Feel what you gotta feel. Yeah, so a lot going on. Oh, I don't even know where to begin because, to be honest, like today is the first day that I'm resurfacing this track. I made it maybe back in, I think I initially actually made it in 2019, which is, it feels like that was 2 years ago. I'm so perplexed how it's 2026. Like, what is going on with time these days? But yeah, so I made this in 2019. I was still living in Brighton in the south of England. And I remember very distinctly, it was after I had just finished watching an episode of Queer Eye, and it was the one in Japan. And there was basically a conversation, a very, very beautiful conversation that needed to happen between this couple that, you know, they hadn't been honest with each other, not in like a bad way, but they just, you know, I think maybe based on their upbringings or whatever, they didn't know how to have those really emotional conversations, like a lot of people. And the situation was set up so they would sit together and just, you know, talk things through with each other. And I didn't know that it was going to be as intense for me as it was. Maybe if I watched it now, it may not have the same emotional impact. But that particular day, watching it, after their conversation where they each broke down and they were crying and I was crying, you know, I was like, oh, this is very, very beautiful to witness this conversation. And afterwards, the guy, he went out of the room, like he just needed a breather. And I've never, ever heard a human being, or it's not that he was crying. There's many people that have cried intensely, but it was just the way that he cried and where it came from inside of him that was just so, it was like he was crying all the tears in his life that he'd never, ever cried, is the only way I can describe it. And afterwards, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I just couldn't stop crying as well. Just remembering, you know, just my mind going back to seeing him in that kind of state. And I sat down and just started making this track. I think what came first actually were the drums with these. This just came and I was just sitting with that for a while. Then yeah, it was the synth and the bass. The bass really, yeah, the bass was the main thing. So I was just sitting with that for a while, and then all of the lyrics just kind of poured out of me. Let's play some of that. Let's play just the vocals, because I mean, from start to finish with this entire track, it was just like this giant puzzle piece that was putting itself together without much of my cognitive thinking. Literally from making the music to then the music video, just piece by piece, all of it just came together. So it felt very guided. It felt very, I don't want to say a channeling, but it was, and not even just flow state. It was like things were just being given, you know, like I had very distinct things, like this goes here, this goes here, this, and this, and this. And usually I overthink everything, but not with this track at all. And that's why I think it will forever be one of the most special songs I've ever made. So let's hear the vocals.
Go let it down, feel what you need to feel. I said let it down, feel what you need to feel. You're shaking in my arms like a baby boy, like you are. No one loving, hear the WATERCÅLL, feel what you gotta feel.
So yeah, let's solo these. I forgot about these. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a couple of reverbs. Yeah, I really love, it's a bit spiky. I really love the Space Designer reverbs, the warped effects. They just have they've just got really cool settings. Now, from a technical standpoint, I purposefully just didn't really do much with the mix with this. I kept it very, very intuitive the whole way, in terms of I didn't want to tweak it. I didn't want to go around and just fuss around with frequencies and things like that. Firstly, because I'm not that technical of a mixer, so it just stresses me out, and then I just end up not releasing a song because I get so frustrated that I just can't get it. Because when you get into that mixing mode, it can very much, you forget the essence, you know, you forget that initial essence of the track. And I do believe that sometimes those initial frequencies that come through, not just in the audio, but when you're first making a song, there's such a purity, there's such an organic aliveness that comes through. And when it comes to then taking it into the more technical side, you can get so just caught up in that kind of thinky, oh, you know, the rules though, like this frequency needs to be like this. And I feel like it can sometimes just take away that essence. So yeah, for me, I just felt, okay, I'm just going to leave this pretty raw. You know, it's not mixed very well, but the feeling is there, you know.
Go let it down, feel what you got to feel.
You need to feel, don't even know my own song. Yeah, I wanted to keep the feeling, and for me that just meant not touching it too much. So
Daddy couldn't grow, he had the weight of the world.
oh, and we have this. Yeah, so these were, I believe that was just some reverse vocals that I put some effects on, but I liked it. It kind of sounded like this other, just another from somewhere else, you know. Yeah, so a lot going on there. Now the drums, oh my gosh, they were so, I had a brief listen to this just before I was looking at it, and I was like, oh my god, what was happening in a cool way. Like I loved making these drums. I just got transported back. So I'm gonna just layer them so you can kind of hear the journey. So obviously we have that. wanted to keep the sounds very organic, as though they're just kind of, I think I used some household instruments, just like objects. I sampled a lot of the David Fanshawe samples, which are all organic, you know, all just oh yeah, this bit, where is it? So this was sort of, this in a way became its own little instrument. I mean, it's only little, but it was so fun. It was so fun. It kind of, yeah, it sort of became its own little hook in the track.
She's a loving
Yeah, that was, oh, drums. So yeah, we have all of this going on, and then the end, yeah, there was the taiko. The end, it all starts popping off. So just to compare, this is where it was. Yeah, I wanted it to feel like as though you're just in this circle of just loads of humans together, just maybe around a fire, and everyone is kind of just releasing, you know. That's how it felt to me, at least. Yeah, some interesting, I think this, I don't know what was going on, but there's reverb. Ah, it was this gunshot. It just added a really nice kind of natural groove underneath everything. So yeah, this was a splurge. This was a massive splurge of stuff together. And again, I just, as you can see along here, I just panned things. I didn't do much mixing whatsoever, like not even EQing, which is obviously, you know, I didn't follow any rules for this. I just wanted to keep it really fucking organic. So let's play a bit of the synth. I think this was maybe from Serum, but I just obviously did stuff to it. Yeah, just a reverb. Oh, it's not working. So one thing I'll always do in tracks, oh, I'm not actually doing it on this one. Well, I like to have a drone that just has one note going all the way through the whole track. I haven't necessarily done it in this one, kind of. But just having that one note that goes all the way throughout, it kind of glues everything together. I think with, you know, with all songs, you're always trying to find something that glues, especially when it's this sort of wild or just all over the place. It's finding those kind of like grounding things that can sort of, you know, glue it in some way. And you can do that with any like mixing or just those kinds of little tricks. But yeah, there's a lot to this track. There's so much, I mean, with the lyrics.
Daddy couldn't grow, he had the weight of the world.
Daddy couldn't grow, he had the weight of the world.
Mama took the load, kept his secret nice and cold. He's a loving.
Mama took the load, kept his secret nice and cold. Now, that just came out. Again, I'm not necessarily talking from experience, but I feel like that's more so to do with men carrying that, you know, they're carrying that weight and that it can come out in that shame, you know, thinking back to that Queer Eye episode where that guy kind of broke down when he found out, you know, his partner just wanted to support him. And I imagine he was just going, when he was in that state of just breaking down, it was like a relief, but also all that shame and guilt and that pressure of, you know, having to hold so much, but not having an outlet for it, not having an emotional outlet for everything that he was carrying, because traditionally men, you know, you're weak if you show emotion. And it's just, yeah, obviously we're seeing a lot of that now with that manosphere. You know, what happens when that gets a bit out of control. Yeah, and that lyric, they're shaking in my arms like a baby bird. That was what that guy looked like to me. And I kind of had this picture in my mind of just if all men or anyone holding in such emotion, when they have that moment of just emotional release, you turn back into an infant. Even myself, like going through like really difficult things, sometimes you just have to curl up in like a fetal position and just cry from your fucking deepest intestine. And if anything, the more that you're crying in that way and the more that you're kind of shaking and like a little baby bird, the better it is going to be for your whole system to release whatever it is you're holding. But we're scared of that because it doesn't feel pleasant. You know, we avoid that, we procrastinate, we doom scroll, you know, we do whatever we can to avoid having just to feel that kind of pain. Yeah. Again, that lyric, grandmama is old, her eyes have got a different soul. Oh, that makes me emotional thinking about that. Because I think that was a little bit to do with how I saw my own grandmother, my granny. I just remember sometimes looking at her and thinking, because she grew up, she did grow up, but she had 10 brothers and sisters. And then she married my granddad, who was a very, very strict Scottish man. Like, they came from very poor backgrounds in Scotland, in Stirling. And yeah, my granddad was very, just very stern. You know, he was an army man, and they travelled around the whole world, like living like my mum and her brothers and sisters. And I just remember I would have moments before my granny passed, and, you know, I'd drive her to my mum's and we would just be in the car for like 5 hours. So I had a lot of good chats with her, and I just knew that there was so much sensitivity in her that perhaps was never able to be expressed because of just, again, those dynamics of the times. Emotions weren't as available to people as they are now. And like, she would sometimes say some things about the dynamic with my granddad that she found challenging, but it was kind of dressed in humour. Like in Scotland, I know this is the case in many cultures, but, you know, humour is used as a way to sort of, you know, just cover up a painful thing, just to make something humorous. And we need that. We need comedy, and the Scottish humour is jokes. So she would kind of make jokes about my granddad. But I could see in her eyes, you know, that there was something behind that, where she just knew more than she let on, and she felt more than she let on. So yeah, that part was, I suppose, that line about the grandmama was kind of bringing my own gran into it. So as you can see, this track, it's so multi-layered with so many different things that it will forever be something to decode. So I hope that made some sort of sense. I really enjoyed breaking this down for you, so have a beautiful day.
I start talking some more, we'll never go home, I never Have a good day. We've had a wonderful day here. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate this gathering because I feel it's important that our people from all over the Northeast, South, and West get together and learn from each other.